Welcome back, this is Goku-san DBZ, and welcome back for the second of the two holiday special reviews. And this is the review for the film, of course, The Muppet Christmas Carol. And this is the first of my series of Disney Plus reviews, where I will occasionally review a movie or TV show or something that is on the Disney Plus streaming service. So with that said, of course, Muppet Christmas Carol, of course, is just the Muppet take, I guess you could say, formula of the classic, Charles Dickens classic, A Christmas Carol. Now, I will say, this is one of my three favorite adaptations of the classic A Christmas Carol. My three favorite, personally, A Christmas Carol adaptations are Muppet Christmas Carol, the Disney one, with, of course, Scrooge McDuck as Scrooge. Makes sense, I guess, technically. And the other one is the only live-action one I really like, which stars, of course, Patrick Stewart. Sir Patrick Stewart. But with that said, of course, from Disney with the Jim Henson Company, this film was released in the around like 91, 92 time frame, if I remember correctly, because I was a kid when this film came out. So, we start off, of course, we look at this world where we see like puppet cabbage and stuff saying, help, I'm being kidnapped or whatever. I guess you would technically say vegetable napped or whatever. Yet they show then other vegetables that are not alive. Okay, so, yeah, kind of confusing, but it is Muppets, let's be honest. And we are introduced to our two narrators, which will quote lines, of course, from the actual book, Christmas Carol. That being, of course, Gonzo, and, of course, Rizzo, the rat. And I actually think that of Muppet characters to play the role as the one who quotes lines and stuff and is the narrator, I actually think was a good choice of Muppet characters to use, with his top hat and everything. And of course, we get started. He says at the beginning, the Marleys were dead to begin with. That's how the story begins. The Marleys are dead to begin with. And, of course, the Marley brothers. And we are introduced, of course, to our Scrooge, which is played by, of course, the great veteran actor, Michael Caine. And personally, I think Michael Caine is maybe my personal favorite Scrooge, in all honesty. There are occasional times here and there in the movie, sometimes I don't feel he's given 100% performance, but I think he looks the part, and he does overall really show the attitude that I would expect of Scrooge, which is being a complete douchebag. And to be fair, that is Scrooge in a nutshell, really, when you think about it. But with that said, of course, we start with the one of multiple great music numbers, and that's one thing you can expect in pretty much most Muppet movies, is good music. I myself am a sucker for musicals. Always have been. Always will be. And that's one of the reasons I love Muppet Christmas Carol, is I love the music numbers. The first one, of course, being the theme, I guess you could say, about Scrooge. Well, I would like to start doing some of the words and stuff from the song, but I'd be afraid Disney would end up copywriting my video if I did so. So, unfortunately. Good song overall. And then at the end of course, the song number, they say Scrooge is getting worse. And Scrooge turns around, and then they're all like, just off. And of course, we see, are introduced to our Bob Cratchit, which of course is played by the great Kermit the Frog, the pride and joy creation of Jim Henson, much like Mickey Mouse was the pride and joy creation of Walt Disney. Really, when you think about it, those are the faces of both companies. Mickey's the face of Disney, and Kermit is the face of Jim Henson Studios. And of course, I actually really like Kermit as Bob Cratchit, personally. We have, of course, his rat assistants, which complain about it being cold and stuff. And then Scrooge is like, how would like to be on the unemployment line? And then they all of a sudden, somehow, nowhere, start having like hula Hawaiian shirts and stuff on. And kind of, well, when I was a kid, I didn't think about nowadays. I look and I'm like, how were you able to get that stuff like poof? Then again, it's a Muppet movie, so you can't think too much logically when it comes to a Muppet movie, let's be honest. You have to leave logic at the door when you're talking about Muppets. I mean, let's be honest. But, and, of course, then, later on, they leave and stuff, and we see, of course, Scrooge gets home, and we see, of course, the Marley brothers appear with the chains and everything, and they do their music number, which is a really good and somewhat creepy and eerie song. Really, when you think about it, looking back now, I'm surprised that didn't scare the crap out of me as a small kid, honestly, watching the movie. Because it's actually pretty dark song for like a G-rated kids movie. But Disney was always good about that, somehow getting away with doing dark stuff and G-rated stuff. I don't know how Disney was able to do it, but Disney were masters. From like the 70s to the 90s, at getting away with a lot of stuff. Needless to say. But, and of course, they mention that you will be visited by 3 spirits. Of course, ghost or spirit of course, the past, the present, and future. And of course, past looks like this kind of weird child spirit of sorts. It is an amazing piece of work. I mean, it's a puppet, though you can tell they probably used elements of computer animation somehow with the Muppet. It's just fascinating to me how this puppet was designed and stuff. It's just a very unique puppet, unlike anything I've ever seen before. But Jim Henson Company, of course, are masters when it comes to that kind of stuff. When it comes to practical effects and things, they've always been great. And I just really appreciate that. And of course, keep in mind if any CG was used, keep in mind this is like 91, back when CG was in its infancy for Hollywood. Because that was around the same time Terminator 2 Judgment Day, which really broke ground in the special effects department. But we see a blast to the past and stuff, and we see like the Marley brothers when they're alive. We see, of course, a certain Fozzie Bear and stuff with a wig and stuff on. It's really funny. And see young Scrooge, and of course we get a great music number from young Scrooge with, of course, his love, and older Scrooge, obviously it really getting to him, and as it progresses, it helps you understand why Scrooge, the character, is the way he is, being a real jackass and stuff. But you understand when you see the stuff he went through in life, especially when he was young and stuff. You understand why he doesn't believe in love and things. And it makes a lot more sense when you think about things, adding complexity and more layers to the character. Then we get the giant Muppet, which is, of course, spirit of present, which ages throughout the time, which is awesome. And we, at the end, of course, he is a very cheerful spirit, of course, and everything. And we are introduced to, obviously, Kermit's, of course, or Bob Cratchit's son, of course, that is what really gets to Scrooge in the end. And then, of course, later on, Tiny Tim and others. After we get to that, we see the end and the disappearing of Ghost of Christmas Present and see Ghost of Christmas Spirit or whatever of yet to come or future. And which basically looks like the Grim Reaper. I will say, and of course, we see where obviously it's mentioned that Tiny Tim ends up dead, obviously. And also, just quick, of course, we see Kermit is married to Piggy, no surprise. But one of the weirdest things about how they did with the kids and stuff, that both the boys were frogs and all three girls were all pigs. No hybrid creature animal. I know, like I said, it's a Muppet movie. Don't think too logical on the whole thing, because you're just gonna hurt your head. But with that said, I think for the most part it was really solid. In the end, and of course, we see Scrooge decides to, of course, offer money to charity and stuff. But to me, it feels kind of like he just tries to buy his way out in redemption. But we see, of course, he ends up kind of trolling Bob Cratchit when he appears at the house and has all the others hide the turkey and everything away. I will say, I just always got a kick out of this film, and I think it's really good, and the emotion is done, the music is superb, and for me personally, it's probably my favorite Muppet movie of all time, Muppet Christmas Carol, and right behind it is Muppet Treasure Island. More for specifically who plays Long John Silver in that movie is why it's pretty close second place. But yeah, for me, Muppet Christmas Carol is my favorite Muppet film, and it is maybe my favorite version of A Christmas Carol. Mainly the music, the character, and as I said, I loved Michael Caine as Scrooge, and this was actually my introduction to Michael Caine. So, there's a lot of things to love about A Muppet Christmas Carol. In the end, I really enjoyed the film. I love it. And it's still tradition this day. Every holiday season to watch it, much like live action How the Grinch Stole Christmas, as well as, of course, a film called Nightmare Before Christmas, watching it on Christmas and Halloween tradition. And, of course, Home Alone 1, classic. And Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, is pretty good too. With that said, that was my review for The Muppet Christmas Carol in my first addition to, of course, Disney Plus reviews. But I'll see you next time. Leave a comment below, tell me if you've seen the film. If not, check it out seriously. And if you did, who was your favorite character? What was your favorite song? But I'll see y'all next time, and happy holidays and happy upcoming 2020.